Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast.
We have the one and only Mr. Tom Hutler. Do you have any of your favorite stories from the Kingdom?
There was a time we had an earthquake, and so they were going to evacuate the building. So I was like getting up to go leave. They go, "No, you can't go. You got to read these safety things." It's like,
do we need to tell them that there's smoking's only on the exterior ramps?
yeah. And Dave came shooting past. He signed off. I'm going, wait, I'm the only one here.
Listen and subscribe to Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
All right, you're checking out the Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast, the Down on the Docks on the other side of the tracks, 5-star dive bar podcast about your Seattle Mariners. We got a little special episode. As you know, we do these episodes here on the Bleav network or anywhere you get your podcast. We're talking Apple, Spotify. You know the rest of Murderers Row when it comes to podcasts. Make sure to go there and like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet and you check out this show, listen, turn off those notifications if you're scared of all the crazy notifications. You can cater this to yourself and also leave us a review. It definitely helps out the podcast. It's a little thing that you can do. None of this costs you any money to do. It takes a couple seconds out of your day. Anyways, let's get into this episode. Today we have a special guest from here on the Bleav network. It's Jacob Duchan. He hosts the Bleav in the Diamondbacks podcast, and we're going to bring him on right now. What's up, Jacob?
How's it going?
Pretty good. You know, the Mariners, as far as the Mariners, maybe played their most complete series of the year, getting the sweep over the Sacramento, or I don't even know.
Wherever they are.
Yes, the A's. You know who I'm talking about. The team that plays in the minor league plays up here in Sacramento. Feeling good. Going home. It's kind of been a trend that we're seeing. The Mariners playing 500 ball on the season, but they are in first place right now. And it seems like they'll have a really good series, maybe back-to-back good series, and then you're going to get a couple in a row that aren't so great. So I'm very interested to see what we do against your 9 out of 10. So you're 9-1 your last 10, holding down a wild card spot right now. It may be the toughest, not maybe, let's just call it the toughest division in all of baseball. How's the season going for you? What are you feeling right now on the season?
They're weird. So the last 13 games have been against the Rockies and Giants exclusively. I don't know who decided to set it up that way. It was, what was it? So it was, I think, 3 against the Giants at home. Then they went to Colorado. I think I mixed it up. But anyways, 4 straight series all against those two teams, and they went 11-2 against those two teams. But you know, depending on who you ask, it's not that impressive because they're both below 500. So I don't know. With the Dbacks, they could be on fire. Like a couple of years ago, they were the best offense, but then the bullpen held them down. This year, it's kind of not that way. Like the bullpen's been not bad, knock on wood, and the starters have been so-so, but it depends on the series. It depends on the time of the month. I don't know. This team is hard to predict, but I'll take anything I can get, especially when they go 9-1 in the last 10, like you said, and 11-2 in their last 13. So it's interesting right now.
Hey, but you're beating the teams you're supposed to beat. That's something that the Mariners have just never figured out. It doesn't matter how good they are. You know, like teams like the Anaheim Angels will just break their backs. You don't have Chicago White Sox to kick around anymore, but like teams like the Kansas City Royals destroyed the Mariners this year in the season series. And then they turn around and they beat teams like the Braves and they sweep teams like the A's. But as of right now, going into this weekend, they're 1 game under 500. So you got another under 500 team you're looking at. I feel like, though, everybody's kind of just waiting for the Mariners to put it back together. They've been really injured this year. You know, you haven't had Cal Raleigh it seems like all year, except for maybe about a 2-week period where he kind of seemed like himself. He had this lingering injury. Brendan Donovan, a big piece that we brought in, that now it's kind of interesting where he fits, because we brought up Colt Emerson as a top prospect, and it seems like he's doing pretty good over at third base. We still have JP Crawford. We have a loaded outfield. So it'll be interesting when he comes back, because he's an all-star caliber hitting utility player, but we haven't been able to use him at utility. You won't see either of those guys this weekend, but you will see George Kirby, Brian Wu, and I Bleav our polarizing piggyback story, if you not know too much about that.
I don't think I do.
Okay, so just a little refresher. We have 6 starters now because Bryce Miller came back. So Luis Castillo, perennial all-star every year, 3-time all-star, franchise pitcher, makes $24 million a year. Off to a rough start. Bryce Miller comes up. Now we have 6 starters. All of these guys are major league, starting starters, on any team. Well, there's not enough room. They try to 6-man. They don't really want to do that too much. So they've been doing a piggyback with Luis Castillo and Bryce Miller, and it's been successful, except for the fact that those two do not like it and weren't communicated front office. So it's a bit of a tense situation right now. It's in the papers. It's the top thing that everybody's talking about. It's one of these internal battles that's going on with the team and the front office. So you'll be able to see this possibly on Sunday. So it'll be interesting to follow up with you and hear what's going on. But as far as the Diamondbacks, yes, you've beat these teams you're supposed to here lately, but you got a few guys that are scolding hot right now. Marte's pretty hot right now. It's all
been doing good.
Yes, that's one of the guys that just kills me that you guys got. That was a great trade for you guys.
He's our longest tenured player, actually. That was 10 years ago.
All offseason, it was rumored that the Mariners and Diamondbacks might have had something cooking. It seems like we have quite the trading relationship with one another. And you still have Seawald on your team too, as well, who is a fan favorite up here. And it was a very controversial trade for the Mariners at the time. But Ketel Marte, that one still stings. What would it have been like if you lost Ketel Marte, do you think?
Depends on the fan base that you ask. I wouldn't say 50-50. I'd say probably more 60-40. We're in favor of keeping him. If he didn't get injured last year, I'm a little biased, but I think he could be in the MVP conversation. I understand that Shohei Ohtani is around, so that kind of wins the award for him every year. But the year he was having before he got hurt was pretty impressive. So to lose a guy like that because he's a problem in the locker room, which I don't really believe, I think that would have been not very smart of the team to do. Glad they figured it out. It seems like he's really come back around and figured his game out.
Yeah, you guys seem like in the last couple of years since the World Series trip, you've kind of unloaded some people or not brought back people, whether it was Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor, who's still here on the Mariners. And then another one was when not re-signing Christian Walker, which now I'm starting to see there's rumors of you guys possibly being interested in grabbing him from the Houston Astros. I just read a Sports Illustrated thing about that. But it seems like you guys have a first baseman right now that's doing right.
Ildemaro Vargas, he's been the surprise guy of the year. I'll share some numbers here. I can tell you right away, he started the year off on a franchise record 24-game hitting streak because he came in for Carlos Santana, who I wasn't very fond of that addition to the team. Yeah. He was, I think he's 40, and he came into the season, I could probably look this up also, but he was hitting, I want to say like 70-something. It was just not very good. And then he got hurt, and then they brought in Vargas, who he was kind of fun last year. He was just kind of like a plug-and-play guy because they were just brutally hurt down the stretch. But then he comes in, and like I said, 24-game hitting streak to start the season, 27, including the 3 games last season. So he was just hot. He got, I think he got the NL Player of the Month to start the season. Like, it was really fun. But yeah, he's just been out of nowhere. Let's see, he's going for this year. He's at 303 batting average, 35 RBIs, and 7 homers. So not bad, but he's been kind of cooling off. So we'll see if he can figure it out again. But it seems like he's definitely coming back to the average that he was kind of always at. But he's like 36, I think. So doing all this at that age is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I was looking at your guys' DH situation, which is, as far as your depth chart here, not you have room for somebody like a Christian Walker. That okay, maybe you have multiple first basemen, and you said Carlos Santana is still under contract, right? Is he
He
expected?
is. He
And
is.
expected
He's in the minors right now. He got hurt,
to
and then they sent him down, and then he got hurt again. And all the fans are like, "Oh no! Like if he's not
he,
going to do that well, we'll see."
he was pretty beloved in Seattle, and we only had him from a trade deadline on. But that was in 2022. But his flexibility to go from both sides of the plate and play first base and DH. But we're talking 4 years ago. But it seemed like he's aged very well. You're right. He is 40 years old. So it's we're still waiting for him really to hit a wall. It seems like he does have these stretches though in seasons. And it seems to me, I'd have to look up the numbers though. He is a slow starter. He's like traditionally pretty slow second half player. But you guys did make a move this offseason. I thought that was interesting, that I was actually interested in, especially if we weren't going to bring back Eugenio Suarez to play third base. You guys got Nolan Arenado. He's been pretty good, solid for you guys this season. In fact, that was one of the guys I was going, man, maybe he'd be available at the deadline, but with your guys' surge right now, probably not.
Yeah, he's been awesome. I mean, he started off the year. Arizona sports fans, they get impatient really, really quickly. Like if you start off the season 0 for 6, they're gonna panic, and I don't get it, especially with baseball, such a long season. And he turned it around quick. He had, I should have looked this up. I want to say he had a 22 game on base streak. So he was just getting on base. He was consistent getting hits. He got a grand slam a couple weeks ago against the Giants. That was pretty cool. But he made it look worth it, especially how cheap they got him because the Cardinals pretty much paid the contract and just gave him to the Dbacks for like nothing. So he's here pretty much on a minimum, and he can do bad, he can do good. They didn't blow a bunch of money on him, so I'm not mad. And with how good he's been doing, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, to get him how you guys got him, it was one of the things that I was shaking my head at. But the Mariners' idea this season was not to bring back Eugenio Suarez, which I thought was strange because we've had a problem for a while, and that's hitting left-handed pitching, and we've seen it all season except for this last series. They don't bring him back because they bring in Donovan, who's a utility player, but their idea was, we'll take this all-star utility player and we'll put him at third base. But he's just playing at third base, but he could possibly play second or he could play outfield. So the good part of this problem is Cole Young came up last year, played about half of the season. He's young. He's like 21 years old, second baseman. Down the stretch, though, they put Polanco out there after they made the big trades, and he didn't play as much at the end of the year. So you didn't know what you were going to get from him. Turns out he looks like an everyday second baseman right now. So you have Donovan over at third base. It's probably his weakest position. Not probably, it is his weakest position. He is, I think, statistically one of the worst third basemen. Can hit the shit out of the ball. But as far as his utility spots, that's so far I'm not very impressed. So we've also had a backup infielder play over there, Louis Rivas, who's been sent down to the minors. And then we brought up the number one prospect in the Mariners with the Mariners, and that's Cole Emerson. He's played all right over there, but he's really a shortstop. And then now we have JP Crawford saying he's willing to go over to third base because it's inevitable that Cole Young is going to be taking over, or excuse me, Cole Emerson is going to be taking over shortstop. So it's like we don't have a traditional third baseman, and it has showed defensively quite a bit. It's been an issue. So when I'm looking around the league, I'm looking for right-handed third baseman, and every third baseman that's on my list are all on contending teams that the Mariners could have went out and just retained last year. And the problem about all these other guys where you're like, well, can't you interchange all of them? They all hit left-handed. So you're not going to play one guy over the other because there's a right-hander on the mound. So that's like one of the spots that's in question for the Mariners. I would say that's a weak link, and definitely the right-handed on left-handed hitting is our issue.
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell. I got the Geno bobblehead back here. I was a big fan of his. I was kind of bummed when they let him go, especially since they were like brutally hurt last year and they just decided to sell. But I got it. And then Seattle bringing him back, I was like, okay, they love him up there. Like when I went up there, what was it, a couple seasons ago, towards the end of the season, he'd been doing pretty decent at the time. And all the Seattle fans were telling me, they're like, oh man, we miss Geno so much. We love Geno. And, if we ever get him back, we'd be so happy. Then he came back and then they let him go. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. Now I think he's on the Reds. I don't know how he's doing down there, but I know they definitely loved him up there.
He's been injured. He's just came back right now. But also that doesn't mean he's been injured anywhere else. You don't know, what the training staffs are or what's going on with the day-to-day or situational circumstances why you got injured. He was injured, but you're right. For me, at least, I was like, we went through all this trouble and made this big story about how he flew into Sacramento and met them on the plane, and they all hugged and they all cried. He also hit arguably the biggest home run in Mariners history that put the Mariners one game. I was there too. One game from the World Series with the big grand slam that just iced that game against Toronto in Game 5. And defensively, sure, maybe he's getting a little long in the tooth, but it's interesting. He goes to Cincinnati where they're like, we're primarily going to use him as a DH. And you're like, what the hell? Why don't we do that? And again, I just kind of feel like the Mariners are always almost right there. That's kind of like their story. And it's always like, it seems like we're shopping for the same thing again. It's like, look, we're shopping for maybe another right-handed bat. We're shopping for a third baseman. But it seems like this organization likes to try to transition players that don't play positions into other positions. We've seen it throughout the history with this, with Jerry Dipoto, who I think was in Arizona at one point, and then he went to Anaheim and then took over the president of baseball operations of Seattle. So again, we have a really good relationship, I'd say trade-wise and just kind of history-wise. Randy Johnson, that's easily, even though we didn't trade him to there, it feels like it. Everybody forgets that he had a pit stop. We traded him to Houston. You guys re-signed him. Mariners just put him, he was already in the Mariners Hall of Fame, but they just decided to retire his number. So both him and Ichiro have number 51. He's recently been brought back into the Mariners family because it is what it is. He wasn't treated very well by the former people that were running the operation. What's Randy Johnson mean in the Diamondback land?
That's the big unit. Depending on who you ask, they'll probably say he's the best of the franchise's not even 30-year history, so it's not that long. But he's done some great things for the team. That World Series performance was awesome, and then pitching Game 6 and then coming back out of the bullpen. I think he pitched Game 6, but he came out of the bullpen in Game 7, and that was legendary. That was before my time, but that was pretty cool stuff. And then he got, I think it was 17 years ago, about a month ago, he got his 20 strikeout game, and he was pretty good for the team, and we definitely appreciate him here. He's had his number retired for quite some time, him and Gonzalez. But yeah, we value RJ a lot. He's actually one of the, I know you guys have like the salmon race or the fish race or whatever it is. We have that with the Legends race. So it's Randy Johnson, Matt Williams, Gracie, and then Luis Gonzalez. So we love RJ.
Yeah, and you guys have treated him better. And I know it was a little bit of he's going in some Mariners fans that are just don't pay attention. We're a little upset that he didn't wear the Mariners hat in the Hall of Fame. And it's like, he won the World Series with the Diamondbacks. He won more Cy Youngs in the National League than he did with the Mariners. He became the big unit in Seattle. And yes, when he got traded, for me, I was really upset about it at the time because this was like the man, and like the Mariners organization just didn't feel like his back was going to be healthy, and they didn't want to offer him a contract, even though the year prior to that he had a killer year. And it's funny when Randy Johnson comes back and he's in the booth, he is such like an open book. He doesn't care. He'll tell the story, and he knows all of his stats. He'll tell you every year what he did. I had 21 wins. I had 240 strikeouts and how many walks he had. He knows his stuff. He knows his worth. And he's always been like that. And as a fan, when I was a young kid, Randy Johnson, he's always been this kind of curmudgeon-y kind of guy. He's kind of lightened up in his older years, like most people do and ex-players do. But he would sign everybody's autographs, but he was never happy about it. He'd be like, oh. But he'd stay there and sign her and be like, I'm walking to my car. And you'd have to walk with him and like get his autograph. Like he's like, I'm going to walk to my car. When I get to my car, I'm done. Does everybody understand? He'd say stuff like that. But he was a very popular player here, not only in baseball, but just in Seattle. He came of age during the grunge age. So, I mean, when you think back of the 90s and you think of the Rockin' Kingdom with the lasers and the smoke and the fire and the fireworks, Randy Johnson is like, to me, there's Griffey and then there's Randy. And then, yeah, we have Edgar Martinez, but those were the two pillars right there that they went and got early on. Another guy that went down to Arizona that I'm just so bummed out that his career just kind of went that way or went the opposite way because of injuries was Kyle Lewis. Do you remember him
I recognize the name. I don't remember a lot about him.
Yeah, he was a number 1 pick from us. He was rookie of the year in the 2020 season. And then he just had this horrific knee injury. He just never could.
I do remember that now.
Yeah, and then we just pretty much handed him over to you guys and it didn't work out. But I didn't know if you really got to see a lot of him or did he factor into, you checking him out, maybe not. But as far as being a Diamondbacks fan, I've never been to a Diamondbacks Mariners game or a Diamondbacks game in season at Chase Field. I've been to the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby when you guys had it about 10 or 11, 12 years ago. And I've been and I've been to multiple WBC events there. What is it like? Like, what's Arizona Diamondbacks baseball fandom like? Because my feeling of when I go there, again, like I'm mentioning, we're going to All-Star game, WBC. So I'm seeing a lot of representation from all of the teams. What's it like just during the regular season into the playoffs?
I hate to say it, but Arizona sports fans are very fair weather. So if they're not doing good, they will not go. It's really sad because the team's a lot of fun and they'll have these good stretches like they're having right now, and the stadium will maybe be half full. Like this upcoming series after Seattle, we play the Dodgers. It'll probably be full, and it'll probably be 70% Dodgers fans, which really sucks just because so many people have moved here. But when they're good, they pack the stands and they get loud and they have fun, and it's a fun place to be when the team's good. I'll go no matter what. They can be the worst team in the league and I'm still going to go, but everybody else not so much. So when they're good, they're a lot of fun to go. So I think right now with their record and how they've been doing lately, I think it'll be a fun homestand starting next week.
I was going to say, the Mariners fan base it could be very fair weather too. There's a lot of like skepticism always with the Mariners, just because look, they're celebrating their 50th year. They've never been to the World Series. I mean, I don't know if you're going to see another organization come around and have that bad of luck. But the Mariners do get good attendance, but I also feel like it's because of the weather. So in the summer, it's packed. People want to be outside. T-Mobile Park, it's a beautiful park. A lot of the in-game entertainment they do is second to none. But people are here because they're born into it. Where in Arizona, I kind of have this perception that, yeah, now maybe more, you're having more homegrown fans, but probably when you guys started the fan base, okay, we have a team here, but I'm from Pittsburgh, so I'm a Pirates fan, or I'm a Cubs fan. They do their spring training down there. Let's just say the D-backs are having a bad year. Or some of your fair weather fans or friends try to like go to their backup team or original team once you see a lot?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right on with that. We are a melting pot state for sure. So I'd say the top 5 teams here, besides the D-backs, Dodgers number 1, Yankees 2, Cubs 3. White Sox don't really get a lot of love just because they're not very good overall. Boston usually does pretty well when they come out here, and maybe the Giants. The Giants are pretty popular as well. The Mets are always pretty popular. And pretty much any of the East Coast teams or the Midwest teams, when they come to town, their fans show up.
With Mariners, of course, when the Yankees and the Red Sox and all of these old school, huge fan base nation teams come, you do see them quite a bit in the stands. But the Mariners' biggest invasion happens to them is when the Toronto Blue Jays come into town. It's pretty insane. Mariners did a pretty good job. Mariners fans did a pretty good job of showing up in the playoffs, so you didn't get to see it. But during the regular season, it is like a home game for the Toronto Blue Jays. I've many times been either listening or not watching, and I think something happened good for the Mariners just because of the crowd reaction. It's like, no, those are all the Canadian fans, and everybody from Canada is a Blue Jays fan because they only got one team if they're going to be rooting for their national team. So everybody comes down to from Vancouver, which is not very far away. And I think that you guys, with Arizona, you get a lot of that because of LA and, the California cities here. You're going to have the A's not too far from you in Las Vegas in a couple of seasons. So that's going to be interesting. They've always been talking about this realignment as well, that I don't know if it'll ever happen, but that would be interesting if they did make like a Southwest corridor.
I think they would need more teams added for that. And,
maybe like 2 more.
They throw around Portland, they throw around Charlotte, they'll throw around, I think Nashville's thrown around sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's enough teams right now to do the realignment, because especially with everybody being fairly regionally close.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll leave it for now, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah. I think with this new collective bargaining agreement that they're going to have, I already saw they put out their first offer, and it's more about like the minimum salary for the year, bumping that up. And it's about putting a tax on these teams, $150 million tax on a tax on a team if they don't spend at least $150 million. So it's like a competitive integrity thing. And I'm kind of into on that. I'm like, they should have that. Don't you agree? Just the way that the league kind of goes.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I don't like the Dodgers and I don't like what they're doing, but other teams could do it. Like I'm not gonna support the Dodgers for doing whatever, but I can't be mad like, oh, they went and got Kyle Tucker. Your team could have went and got Kyle Tucker. Or Shohei Ohtani was talking to supposedly like 4 or 5 different teams. Like, why didn't your team offer him a lot of money? So I don't know. I think there should be a minimum. I think these teams should have to spend at least something, like you said, and it makes the game more competitive. Like, I can't say that now. Why is Tampa Bay normally not very competitive? They're not spending a lot of money, but they're competitive right now, so that doesn't apply. But normally, your small market teams, they're just kind of there. They'll have a little stretch, they're good, and then they'll kind of just fizzle out. And your top dog teams, they're above.
Yeah, and I really hate that these teams that don't spend any money, they collect this big check at the end of the year, and it sucks for the fans. So I think that was something that I was interested in seeing. I don't think that the salary cap will ever happen. So I think that's kind of like why you're throwing this thing in here to go, well, we want the salary cap. Well, we know that this player union is not going to go for it. So maybe this is something that they can find some common ground and go, okay, because this does put money back into your team, because if the other people are throwing money into the pot too, I would assume it would mean a little bit more wiggle room for a team to have for their overall budget. Mariners are a trade or they call it DDT. I think it's DDT now, DDTR, where it's draft, develop, trade, or retain. So they're very rarely they're going to go out and do a big free agent contract. Instead, they're going to draft, they're going to develop, and they're going to flip them. Whatever happened to the first baseman we sent you guys last year in that trade?
Tyler Locklear?
Yeah, Tyler Locklear, because I know when we got rid of him, some people were like, ooh, he was a nice little player, nice little right-handed stick. Is he in AAA again?
Yeah, he got hurt towards the end of the last season. I don't remember what the injury was. I want to say it was a leg injury or something, but he's been kind of bouncing around down there. And they said like a month ago that he was close. So I don't know if just Vargas playing really well kind of messed with his timing, but I want to say he's kind of in the rafters getting ready to come back. But I haven't heard a lot on him lately. But yeah, he had some stretches where he was pretty fun. Kind of maybe, after getting rid of Christian Walker, I was like, maybe he could be the future first baseman, but we'll see now. But yeah, I'd love to see him come back and compete with Vargas and Santana possibly for first base.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up on him or keep my eyes on him because he was a nice right-handed stick, and I thought he played at a pretty decent first base. And not knowing what Josh Naylor was going to do following the season, it was kind of one of these things where, man, we might have had a nice little right-handed stick, maybe could platoon him with somebody, but now we got Josh Naylor, so I'm not really too worried about that. In just 1 second, right after this, let's talk about the pitching matchups, and we'll wrap this up.
We got
Cool.
4-time Gold Glove winners, 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. And look, the reason why I bleached my hair back in the 2000s. What's up, Brett?
I love it. I love it. You had the hair, huh?
That was like my college look.
That was my thing. My kids still tease me about it. They said, "Dad, why don't you go bleach your hair?" I said, "Dad's getting a little old for that." I said, that was just a phase I went through. It was kind of a shtick. And I used to tell people when I bleached my hair, I'd say, the city expects it. So just don't worry about it. Get out of my way every 3 weeks. And I had my routine.
Did you get your hair done by somebody here?
I did. No, I did. I had a young lady who would come to the ballpark, actually, and I had a barber chair. It was a hair bleaching station. And there was a couple guys on the Mariners that would get it done, too. But every 3 weeks, she would come in. We had a little office space off the clubhouse, and I'd get it done. So that was fun. That brings back pretty cool memories.
The moment where that band starts to play the warm up music, not the theme music, the music that y'all don't hear, when the energy picks up, when the audience is there, when the audience is getting loaded in and the band is playing, when all that stuff happens, it gives you a jolt of energy every week, and you're just like, man, I got to do this. I get to do this. Getting the first sketch on was like getting a single, maybe like an RBI. Getting called to Lauren's office in between dress and air and looking at the board and seeing that your sketch moved up from the 12:50 slot to the first act, that's when it's like, oh, we did something cool. That feels like a home run. That felt like a home run. That was Timothy Chalamet.
The game where you're like, okay, you got a couple of knocks. You got some home runs, maybe hit a grand slam, probably the Dave Chappelle show.
Yeah. So the Dave episode was my like, oh, he's a player, and we can like the Dave episode I could get talked about on the local ESPN affiliate the next day. Like that's what that felt like. It's like this guy might actually be adding some value to this.
You asked for the ball, right? If you're a player, give me that ball. I'm taking that home. Do you have the paper copy of that? Did you take something?
I do. I do have that. I got the cue cards from the some of the jokes that I have in the sketch.
Oh, wow.
All right. So while we wrap this up here with Jacob Duchamp, just wanted to give one little plug here. Well, 2 big plugs here. In the Clutch Apparel, that's intheclutchapparel.com. Use promo code Rye Bread and Mustard, all one word. No lowercase, no caps needed. Save yourself on MLB, NHL, NBA, WNBA, NFL, NASCAR. They got it all. They got golf on there. They got all the teams. All this stuff is licensed to the players. So you skip around Fanatics. You skip around putting the money back into these organizations. The money goes right to the players. And, of course, to In the Clutch at intheclutchapparel.com. And also this weekend, if you're going to go check out the Mariners Diamondbacks series, which you should. You got 2 hot teams playing right now. Well, Mariners been hot for 3 games. These guys have been hot for 10 games. Maybe the roof's open, maybe it's closed, but tacos and tequila, Pioneers Tacos and Tequila. The bar and the kitchen are always open. Make that your pre and post party destination. All right, Jacob. This weekend, mentioned earlier, Friday we're throwing Kirby. Saturday you're getting Brian Wu, and Sunday you're getting the Bryce Miller, which I Bleav Castillo is going to be piggyback. People on my side know what that's all about. So can you tell us about these starters here? We'll start with Friday night starter with Galen.
Zach Gallen. Zach
Gallen.
Gallen was our ace, supposedly. Zach Gallen was so-so last year. He had a great second half of the season, not a great first half. Coming back, actually not coming back, in between seasons, in the offseason, he was a free agent. So he decided to test the waters. Dbacks offered him, I want to say, $22 million for a year. And then he said, I think I can do better than that. So he went and tested the waters, and nobody else really thought he could do better than that. So they ended up tending him a qualifying offer for $22 million. So here he is now. He's back on the team. I'd say he's probably a fan favorite, kind of, but he's been so-so this year. He's 3-4 record, 4.80 ERA. He's got 40 strikeouts, and he's got a 1.44 WHIP. So he's been so-so. But in his last 3 starts, he's been 2-1, and his ERA is 6.75. So
Yeah, I was
he's
looking
been
at
kind of weird.
Yeah, Kirby, you're getting George Kirby, 5-4 ERA, just a little bit over 3.5, 68 innings, 1.21 on the WHIP. But his last couple starts have not been that great. In the last 7 games, you go look at his ERA, it's about 3.5, 3.7. Last couple starts, I Bleav it was against San Diego and Kansas City, not very good. The Kansas City one wasn't terrible, 6-3. But the games before that, he gave up 6 runs to San Diego. So when he kind of goes bad, he goes bad. But George Kirby's been pretty steady. I think him somewhere in the rotation at the 3-4 spots, about right where he should be with the Mariners. He's a guy that throws a lot of strikes. So, if you're in on the zone and you are a Corbin Carroll that's going to hunt anything in the zone, or we didn't really talk about him. Another local product from Seattle that's has an Arizona tie now, or a Seattle tie to Arizona. You're going to do good. He's not going to walk a lot of people. And he doesn't. The one thing I don't like, but I mean, I guess you get this with a pitcher who throws strikes, is he doesn't really go outside the zone as much, like a little bit little conservative about that. So if I'm a Diamondbacks hitter, I'm definitely, anytime George Kirby's in there, you're getting a strike. It's about being on time for whatever pitch you're going to get. Saturday's game, another 7:00 start. I think they're doing fireworks and stuff there, so they got to start these games as late as they can because it stays light till about 10:00 at night. June in Seattle. We got Brian Wu again he's having a solid season. ERA under 3. He's had, when you look at his ERA at 3.82, he's had a couple of big, bad blowups where 7 earned runs, and that's why his ERA. Other than that, he's been pretty solid. He's former All-Star last year. Ended the year injured, but then pitched a little bit in the playoffs. But his injury, I thought, was one of the things that really hampered the Mariners because you didn't have him in the playoffs. But he's got just about 60 strikeouts. Another guy that's going to throw a lot of strikes. Control guy, going to hit his spots. And you guys on Saturday have Nelson up on the mound.
Ryan Nelson, he's very hit or miss. When he's on, he's on. When he's not, he is very not. Last start against the Rockies, so take that with a grain of salt. 8 innings, only 1 run, but 3 strikeouts. I call this guy the fastball guy because he throws a lot of fastballs. So if they're a team that hits the fastball well, or they just, that day they hit the fastball well, it might not be a good night for Nelly. But overall, he's not bad. His last 5 starts have definitely been better than the 2 starts before then. He had a game against Toronto earlier this year where he didn't even make it out of the first inning, and that's his low. Hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, he comes into this one 4.65 ERA, so not the greatest, not the worst. But when he's on, like I said, he's really fun to watch, but he throws a lot of fastballs. So I'm not sure how you guys do against a fastball, but expect a lot.
They do all right on the fastball. It's really the left-handed, and it's the slurve and or the sweeper and all of that shit that they love to go chasing. Sunday, like I said, we got this piggyback coming at you. It looks like Bryce Miller is going to start. See how many innings he goes. That's kind of been the controversy because Luis Castillo got taken out after 4 scoreless innings. Had a little episode in the dugout over it. This time, it's the other way around. So we'll see how far they push Miller or how far he goes against you guys. Another guy throws a lot of fastballs, but he has come up from his injury and he's getting the ball up there around 98, on his fastball. He's got some gas, but he's another guy. Him and Castillo, both of those guys love to go to the fastball. I think Luis Castillo had a game a year ago or 2 years ago where he threw like 60 something straight fastballs. So again, same thing with your guy the day before. And you guys are throwing the veteran right-hander out here, Merrill Kelly, on Sunday.
Merrill Kelly. I was kind of bummed when they let him go last year at the trade deadline, but a lot of people said that they could bring him back. So I was like, I'm not mad at that. And they brought him back. He was hurt, though, coming into the season, so he didn't get a spring training. But his first few starts definitely showed that. But once he got some footing, he's been nice. He's been nice. He is now 5-3. He's got a 5.25 ERA, but he had some rough starts at the beginning of the year that started that. In his last 3 starts, the most runs he's allowed was 3. So he's definitely been going. That's 4 starts in a row that he's gone 6 or more innings. 2 of them he went 7, and then he had a game against the Rockies last week where he pitched all 9. So when he's on, he's definitely good. He's a guy that the Dbacks rely on. I wouldn't say he's been the ace this year, but he's definitely been relied upon a lot because when he's got his stuff going, he's tough to hit against.
And just getting into your lineup, that we're going to see. We've talked about Marte. We've talked about Ornato, and I feel like, oh, wow, we didn't even talk about Corbin Carroll. I want to finish on that. Corbin Carroll, this is looking like, I know you have Randy Johnson on the top of that, on that mountain. This guy is one of the guys, you guys have locked him up, but this is somebody that when it's all said and done, I believe could be maybe your best franchise player, depending on the success of the team. But this guy's a stud, an absolute stud.
Yeah, you hit that on the nose. I'm very hopeful that he will be a RJ or a Gonzo type of guy, but the fact that he's already a triple away from tying the franchise record is pretty cool. I think he's at 51 right now, 52 to tie, 53 to take the lead. He has more triples than half the league team-wise, which is nuts. But yeah, he's crazy, and the crazy thing is he really hasn't been that good this season compared to 2023 or stretches last year, but he's getting it going. I saw on MLB's Instagram today that they have him as the top ranked hitter right now, so he came out of nowhere because on there, I think the last one he was unranked. So they said he was from unranked to first, so he definitely picked it up. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets NL Player of the Week or maybe of the month.
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez has had his best month power wise his whole entire career right now. He's sitting on 8, so if he hits home run against you guys, it'll be his career high in a month. Traditionally a slow starter. Carroll's, I wouldn't categorize him as a slow starter, but he's somebody also that played in the WBC this year, played a lot of baseball. He's 25. That's the crazy thing. He's you guys locked him up. Sure, and you did it early, just like Julio, kind of on that same trajectory, same age range. Right now, his contract's pretty affordable for you guys, around 10, 12, 14. Then about 2029, his last 3 years, that's where you're going to see it bump up to like 28. But at that point, you got him in his 28, 29, and 30 age seasons, and just where you think the market's going to go. I think that's an absolute great deal.
I was very happy that they got him for what they did. Obviously, I think when they signed him, it was before his rookie of the year, but he was a very, very praised prospect, and not a lot of people knew about him outside of the franchise, I feel like. But when he came in 2023, big reason that they went to the World Series was because of him. I'd say he's got a very good chance to be a legend in the franchise. I think he already is, but with him being so young, the limit is, I don't know. I don't know what his limit is. I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he could be the greatest at the end. We'll see. He's got a lot of competition with Randy Johnson, but if he keeps it up, that contract looks better and better every day, and he can definitely be the greatest when it's all said and done, like you said.
Well, yeah, and I say that too, even for people that are listening from my end. It's like, I feel like it's an okay safe statement to make because of his age and what he has ahead of him. And by the time he's done playing, he's going to play way more Diamondback games than Randy Johnson did. But is he going to bring home the hardware? Is going to be the telltale sign of that. But I got to say, I do always have a bit of a soft spot for the Diamondbacks, even though I hate snakes. I hate them. But teams like San Diego and the Arizona, and not so much the Giants, but those two teams and the Rockies, I'm always kind of rooting for them over the Dodgers, just because the Dodgers have just figured out a way to just screw everybody else in this league. But in your guys' division, you're getting to play some division games here coming up after the Mariners. You guys got the Dodgers, and I don't know who follows you after that, but you're getting to play two teams here where, even though the Mariners have been off to a slow start and been injured and gotten everybody back, you're playing, one of the perennial AL World Series teams, and you're getting to play the NL perennial World Series team back to back. So, I mean, as a fan, you're probably going, this is a bit of a measuring stick, especially the Dodgers series.
100%. Like I said earlier, 13 against two teams under 500. It's cool that we're kicking their butt, but you're playing the World Series champs next week. You're playing a team that was a game away from the World Series this weekend. How can we do? How can they do against the top dogs? Because, yeah, it's cool beating up on the bottom dwellers of the division, but I really want to see how they can do against the Mariners and the Dodgers. And I think they got the Nationals right after that, where they've been a surprise this year. So let's see how they do against teams not under 500 by, I think the Giants are 12 games under now. So it is a measuring stick, like you said, but I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I just want to apologize for the Mariners not taking care of business with the San Diego Padres so far in the, I believe in the against the NL West. I think the Mariners only won one game, so you got that going for you. So there's some good news for you. But yeah, we lost the Eddie Vedder Cup to the Padres, which I think is the saddest thing. You've taken two teams that have never won the World Series, and you've created a championship between them with somebody that's really not from either place, I don't believe. And so, but they both
that whole rivalry weekend is new, and I get what they're trying to do, but some of those series, like, they make a lot of sense, like the Subway series or the highway or the freeway series for the Dodgers and the Angels. But yeah, then they had the Eddie Vedder Cup, and it's like, these are two different conferences, so it's not even like they play each other all the time. I think, like you said, he's not even from there, I don't think.
No, I mean, obviously the grunge started in Seattle, so that was the big thing, moved there. But some people are saying he's even really a Cubs fan, but he showed up he's always at the Padres and the Mariners games. And I think he did some time in San Diego. I really don't know, but it's strange to me too, where they're like, well, you have to have these rivals. And you're like, the Padres aren't our rivals. We share a spring training facility with them. They're our friends. Like a rival to us would be more like the Houston Astros now. Where that's a real rivalry. And I can understand, yeah, the freeway series, the Subway series, the Chicago series. Who did they pair you up with? Because before you tell me, because I don't know, I would go, your rivals to me are the teams that you come into existence with. So I'd be like, oh, it should be Tampa Bay and Arizona, because those are you guys are cousins, right? And then the Rockies and the Marlins. But who did they put you up against for rivalry week?
It was the Rockies.
It was the Rockies. And that's just because the mountain time.
Proximity. Oh yeah, Arizona and Colorado. We got to put them in here too. Just a quick series, real quick.
And then they're just like they
It
get in
definitely
trouble.
felt. It didn't even have a name. It was just rivalry weekend. Dbacks Rockies, and I'm like, okay,
Okay.
but we don't get a cup. We don't get a series. We just get Rockies Dbacks. So I don't know.
Yeah, the snakes versus the what is it, bear country over there. So
Mountains.
yes, I'll try to think of something. I'd be interested to see what their production did with that. But hey, Jacob, thanks for coming on here. We went a little bit long, but it's been a good conversation. I've got a big series coming up with you guys, so it's great to reach out to people here on Bleav. Love to have you back during the season when we're doing like some league round kind of episodes and stuff like that. And listen, like I said, always rooting for you guys and the Padres to take out the Dodgers. Is there anything you want to plug? Your show, just in case you're interested in listening to some Diamondback stuff. It's Bleav in Diamondbacks right here on the Bleav Network. And just like the Rye Bread and Mustard and Mariners podcast, you can get this anywhere you get a podcast. Where can they find you on social media?
I'm still in the process of that, so I'm not going to plug any socials yet, but I am going to make my Instagram probably today. It should just be at Bleav in Diamondbacks. I don't think it's taken. So once I get that going, you guys can be some of the first followers, and I'd very, very much appreciate it. Like he said, Bleav in Diamondbacks on podcast networks, wherever you get your podcast. I'm going to start video now. I actually haven't done video yet because I've been moving. So now I'm almost ready, but I'm going to have the video going and it'll be a lot of fun. But this has been a lot of fun. So I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, and you do have a Twitter, though. I've checked out. You do have a sports Twitter. Is that? Or...
I don't use it a lot, but yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, let us know. And is that your Jacob Talk Sports? Or is that your TikTok?
Yeah. So I do have my TikTok. I think it's at Jacob Sports Talk, or just look up Jacob Talk Sports. It'll pop up. But that's definitely my most common social. So if you want to check me out on there, I'd appreciate it as well.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Jacob. And hopefully we can. No, I hope I'm much more happier than you after this weekend. I was going to say, hopefully we can both find something to be happy with. I'm looking for a Mariners series victory. You're looking for a series victory. It was fun talking to you, but now we got to be enemies. Anyways, thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's wrap this up with a little outro music.